Hey guys, we are looking at Unwrapping the Pharaoh, lesson number 23. This is a transition period between two dynasties, okay, to a new dynasty, from the 18th dynasty into the 19th dynasty. So what we do know is this. Towards the end of the 18th dynasty, we have Tutankhamun, right, King Tut. His wife was Akhsenamun, and she dies childless, okay, and so there's no children. Tut dies childless. So Akhsenamun survives King Tut, and she is basically a widow with no sons and wants to stay on the throne. So she writes a letter to the Hittite king, Suppilulimus, and on page 164 of your book, it says that she wrote this: "My husband has died, and not one son do I have. But of you it is said that you have many sons. If you will give me a son of yours, he could be my husband. For how may I take one of my slaves and make him a husband and honor him?" So she is basically saying, I'm willing to stay on the throne as queen if you'll send me one of your sons. But the Hittite king thinks this is a trap. He's like, this is suspicious. I'm not so sure about this. But he does send a delegation to Egypt to try to figure out what's really going on. And he gets there and this delegation is checking things out, and the delegation is given a letter by the queen to send back, and it reads as such: "Why have you spoken these words? They wish only to deride me. I have not written to any other country. To you alone have I written. It is said that you have many sons. Give me a son of yours. He shall be my husband and king over all of Egypt." Well, eventually, this Hittite king says, you know what? She's not kidding. She really wants this alliance, and basically it could make my empire bigger. So he sends his prince Prince Zonarvan to Egypt, okay? But in Egypt at this time, there's no pharaoh, there's a queen, there's some unrest, and you have this man named Ai. And he's a crafty Egyptian soldier statesman, okay? He's possibly the brother of King Tut's grandmother. And he eventually seizes the throne. When the Hittite prince arrives, he kills him. And Ai, however, only reigns for about 4 years. Then you have a man named Harmheb. And Harmheb was an army general, and he succeeds Ai to the throne. He vigorously sets about fully restoring the worship of Amun. Okay? It was kind of forced during King Tut's time, and he's trying to make sure it's completely done and that Amun is truly the only god that's allowed, the primary god in Egypt. He sets about trying to destroy all the memory of the worship of Aten. He demolishes the huge temple of Akhenaten had built. He literally sends people all over the country to remove the names of Akhenaten, Tutankhamun, and Ai, the three pharaohs that were before him. And so he's trying to literally date his reign from the time that Akhenaten came to the throne and trying to eliminate all the memory of everyone else, basically trying to make himself sound like he's more important than he really was. Eventually, he dies also without a male heir. And he knew he was going to die. He knew he didn't have an heir. And so he, before his death, wills the throne to his vizier. And this person becomes known as Ramses the First, okay? And Ramses the First is the first king, first pharaoh of the 19th dynasty. Again, he gets his throne from Harmheb, who, kind of willed it to him. He's the first king of the 19th dynasty. However, he rules for only 1 year. The only worthwhile thing that he basically did for all of Egypt was father a son. This son is Sethi the First. Okay, he was also an army general under Harmheb, and Sethi the First reigns between 11 and 20 years, and it's not exactly sure how long he reigned. His reign, though, he maintains the capital of Luxor. However, even though the capital is there, he moved most of the activities in his court and things to Avaris. There's a building. It's where he makes a massive hypostyle hall at Karnak, and it's a very impressive temple at Abydos as well. he is very eager to establish his right to the throne and claim that he has a true legitimate claim to be Pharaoh. And so in this, on the temple wall of Karnak, he makes this king list where he includes himself there. And he also includes his son on the wall with the sidelock hair and scroll in his head. Okay. He also was a general to begin with. And so he took some military invasions into the lowlands during his first year. Again, trying to make sure that his right to the throne is established and trying to create this true dynasty and succession of things. He crowns his youthful son Ramses II as co-regent very early into his reign. He doesn't do a lot of building. He has a very small and delicate temple that's on the west bank of Luxor in his name and honor. He does have a tomb in the Valley of the Kings, and it is the longest and deepest at 328 feet in length. His mummy, however, is a masterpiece of embalming. The body, unfortunately, was destroyed by many different robbers that came and looking for the jewels and things, but his face was preserved, and it's the best preserved and most lifelike of all royal mummies, this face of Sethi I, okay? Ultimately, this transition period between the 18th and the 19th dynasty was one of the most peaceful transitions in, not just Egyptian history, but most history. And it goes now from Ramses down to Sethi and then Ramses II. And that's the beginning of this 19th dynasty. So make sure you're reading the material. Thanks.